Welcome to Magical Moments with Artemis. I am continuing a previous video that had to do with the equinox, so happy equinox. This is being filmed March 20th. And the topic that I noticed I meandered into was life persists. And how initially that came to me through the movie Jurassic Park. The chaotician brings that up early in the movie. And I think his words were life finds a way. And for me, what's really more significant is the phrasing life persists. And I discussed how there's this tree near where I live that in my opinion got butchered. Is that my own judgment? Absolutely. But the bottom line is, it got hacked. And not in a nice way. So I also noticed that humans strategically placed a substance on this tree to impede its growth. And yet, there are other areas on that tree where life persists. That tree, every place that it can grow, it is growing right now. When you see blades of grass coming up through the sand, that is life persisting. When you see blades of grass coming through concrete in the middle of New York or Los Angeles or wherever, that is life persisting. And why that comes up right now is I'm just considering that whatever occurs on the surface of the earth, that the earth persists, that life persists. So we may be doing this, that, or the other in this moment, but in another generation, life is still going to persist. Things that were happening back in the Dark Ages, 14, 15, 1600s, and life persists. Here we are, the year 2000, 2013. And I guess I bring that up as a point of relief. And also because I'm noticing fear. I'm noticing a grid of fear. And when I think back, what must it have been like to have lived in the 50s when a lot of homes were designed with underground shelters because there was a threat of attack, a perceived threat of attack. Then fast forward to the 60s when right on television, in America anyways, there were televised missiles that were getting ready to be launched in another country. And how frightening that must have been. And just 2 or 3 years ago, the H1N1 virus that was supposed to take out the whole country. Get your shot, get your shot. And how devastating has that proven to have been? So, first of all, I want to look at the grid of fear. So just notice that. And every place that you're willing and that you're capable, unplugging from that. Because life persists. Life persists. And feel what that feels like. Feel what it feels like to know that life persists, and feel what it feels like to have these fears thrown at you from different places. And notice if you're able to walk through them, notice them, but not take them on. Because I'm noticing that there's something else coming up right now in another country, a perceived threat. And I'm just noticing that within that perception that there's fear. So you have a choice. Are you going to buy into the fear? Are you going to ignore the fear? Are you going to, what are you going to do with that? Because life will persist. Regardless of what happens, what unfolds, life will persist. It always has. It will continue to do so. It will continue to do so. And I'm noticing doubts. So if you have doubts to that, see if you're willing to shift that. See if you're willing to shift that. Yeah. I notice that there's an island of trash in the ocean that we've created, and yet life persists. My invitation to you today is to notice everywhere that life persists. And should you notice fears to the contrary, fears that life may not persist, fears that the ocean may die out, fears, whatever form of fears or limiting beliefs or limiting thoughts about life persisting, life moving forward. My invitation to you is to leave space, to create space for life persisting. The threat of the end of life, I guess, has existed since day one. Since day one. And yet here we are. How many years later? Depending on your philosophy, could be millions of years, could be thousands of years, but we're still here. So that is my invitation. Happy Equinox. Thank you for watching.